Welcome to where creativity meets reality. I know that's not what it said on the main board, but hey, let's just continue and jump into it. We're going to start with our image. We're going to create a gradient map. I gave a dark brown and a light brown gradient map. You can do whatever you want to get your image as you want if you're following along. So I then use my levels adjustment layer and give it some atmosphere. I then created a solid black space and changed the blend mode of that black space to give it more of a dark feel. We continue with our brush tool and created some small little darkness in the background to give our space some depth. So right here, we're giving some depth to our flower. Then we're going to add some texture to our flower in the form of this texture layer. So after that, we're going to start on our layout. I started with the square rectangular tool and I morphed it to the way I pleased. I wanted to do this warped flyer look, and this was the best opportunity to do it given I had one of my slow days. Anybody can like comment if there was like an easier way to do what I did here. I know there must have been an easier way because I was just going with the vibe, following how I felt at a point in time. But there's always an easier way to do things, so you can always tell me. And we're just continuing to build out our letters or writing using lower cases, bowls, very varying our font choices, and using our font to bring a sense of creativity to our flyer and just building out what possibly it could look like. So right there we play with the 9 a.m. We made 9 a.m. bold, the letters in between not so bold, the January bigger, so it's probably the first thing you see. Honestly, I didn't have anything in particular thinking of. We're going to start up here with our logo. I started to like play around at first, but then this gave me an H, so I just work with that. Then I just write the word logo beside it because hey, I'm not really doing this for any particular person. I was just going off the vibe. And right here it says follow for more designs, and if I get like some traction on this design video, I will definitely try to do more in my free time. So now I'm going to start on the title. What I started with a rectangle and I converted it to a smart object. and I went into the smart object and I worded the title the way I wanted it. So I was thinking of doing like the Victory Lap. That was what I wanted to call the event. So I started with the and I played around creatively. I played around creative like the way I wanted it to be. I had this idea of putting the in a square, and then afterwards have the Vic and then Tory separate, and then Lap would have like two rectangles just holding up the Victory. I went along with some old English fonts just to give the vibe of Renaissance, the the old vibe that I was going for. I don't know how to describe it. He's the creative bit. So there we have it, the victory lap. I personally never liked at first when I was doing it. I had the VI, yeah, the VIC was not showing so well. So later on in the video, I went and I changed that about it. I really, I really was playing with it, and that's how I got it out to say, hey, I like how this works. This looks alright, and that's what you have to do in like a creative works and projects. Just play around with knobs, tweak things, duplicate things, make anything what you want it to be. So I carried my smart object off to the side, and I used my transformation tool to get that little warp. I was playing with it for a little bit to see what was working. Then I got the idea to just warp it like that. I didn't like how the lap was there, so I just took it out of the smart object and put it in the flyer itself. I never liked the way it was being warped, so I just took it out. Yeah, that was a little bit better. I changed the blend mode. And now let's go back to work on the title. I didn't like the way it was handled like that, so I went and I messed around a little bit. Made the crop it a little bit, made it smaller. I like the way it began to like form out. I didn't like the color on the background. It was too dark for that background. The V was too big, so I made the V a little bit smaller. Then I changed and played around with the fonts. I went and I, think I saw this font. I like the font. It's a pretty cool font, but I did not think it was a vibe for this flyer. As you can see, it doesn't really go along with our Renaissance guys in the background. They were saying, "Oh, this doesn't fit." So I went through, tried a few, went back to the one that I did, but then I noticed that when I made them smaller, the VIC actually showed. So now I just continued with that, and that's how creativity works. You just play around, and you get it the way that you want it, and it's really cool. It's really cool. Like I didn't know where I was going, but I knew that I didn't want this to look a particular way, and it it started to come out. Now I wanted the Victor to pop more, so what I did was I played around with the blend options, gave it a little drop shadow, I duplicated the layer and changed the blend mode of that duplicated layer, and then I went in my mask tool and I like masked out a bit of it, So it popped after a while. After a while, like going through, yeah, you can see it like developing. I like the way it looks right there. So now, at this point, I wanted to just get the colors right because the square up top looked a bit red and the one below looked orange. After the video was cut off because I was busy after a while, and I created that box and I put a little guy's head in there, and that's 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 like the Renaissance vibe I was going for. I said I really changed the pink lighting on him, give it a little more orange to fit, but I think the standing out really helps. So right now I'm going to just work on the atmosphere. So what I normally do is just, add some darkness, add some lights, play with the levels adjustment, and you'll see. So yeah, there, yeah, just add a brush, add a new layer, multiply, and voila, vignette. So there we go, we're adding our levels adjustment, making it a little bit darker, making everything a bit more stand out. So then we go and we do our vibrance and saturation, increase the vibrance, not too much on the saturation, and for the most part it really come together. I added my Tread Media logo and information to the side, so you know it's not finished until that's there. So this is a quick temp flyer of what you can do in like an hour. Yeah. It was pretty cool. Yeah, that's the final results. Pretty cool, huh? Pretty cool.